Hi, everyone. I've been invited to speak for precisely 3 minutes with very strict instructions on the topic of the Indigenous Screen Office and solidarity. So I had to cut all of my jokes. I'm sorry, they were really good. As many of you know, the ISO is a national funding organization supporting narrative sovereignty, stories made by First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples on all screen platforms. We were founded just 5 years ago, and in the last 2 years alone, we have disbursed $24 million in funding to support Indigenous content creation and sector development funding to foster an Indigenous screen industry in Canada. Woo! Yeah. I'm very tired. My team and I are very tired. During COVID, we stepped up to deliver funding to Indigenous storytellers who otherwise would have been left out of the institutional funding mechanisms that were delivering support at that time. Although we were very small, with minimal infrastructure, we also extended an offer to work with racialized groups and other partners to deliver development funding to racialized storytellers. What started as a $300,000 initiative ended up being the $2.2 million Solidarity Fund. Why did we do this? We were tired of waiting for institutions to lead where they continued to fail. We wanted to prove a point that if a teeny tiny organization like ours could do this, there was simply no excuse not to. We wanted to demonstrate what Indigenous leadership looked like and its potential for this industry. But most of all, we wanted to help our friends and colleagues who at that moment were suffering deeply. Our solidarity was grounded in the spirit of empathy, understanding, and equality, and that is why the collaboration was ultimately a success. When I think of solidarity, I'm reminded of the treaties of this territory and the great peacemakers of this land, the Haudenosaunee. I just heard a reference to the Dish with One Spoon treaty. That agreement is grounded in a worldview of bounty, not scarcity. It means that there's enough for us to share and that we're each responsible for not taking more than we need, for leaving enough in the dish for others. I also think of the Two-Row Wampum, a treaty the Haudenosaunee made with the Europeans to travel down the river of life together, but each in our own vessel. This living treaty acknowledges the importance of our independence, as well as our shared journey, of our differences, as well as the road we go down together. We can support one another on these journeys without trying to steer another's boat. Right now, the ISO must paddle in our own canoe as we advocate for continued funding from the federal government. This funding is tied to our distinct and fundamental right as set out in the laws, constitution, and treaties of this land and the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. We are not sovereignty-seeking or equity-seeking. We are sovereign people with nation-to-nation agreements with this government on unceded, stolen lands on which this country's wealth is built on. Now it is our time to call on you, our friends, to recognize this important distinction and support our journey to achieving stable funding. Finally, I want to acknowledge my friend Deanna Wong, who I have known for 18 years and shared many moments of solidarity with, as well as laughter and tears, and that is what it is all about, to be part of this industry for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kerry. Since you couldn't use those jokes, I'm going to be up here a few more times after use them. Thank you very much. The main course is coming, enjoy, and then we're going to get to the award itself. Thank you.